everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of our new series, The First Step, where we interact with people who've done something unique in their course of college. Today we have with us Ansh Mehra. He happens to be an engineer turned UX designer who also runs his podcast, Take It Easy, which is on Spotify. He interned at Swiggy as a product designer and is now working with his friend designing a completely new virtual event hosting platform known as Zuddl, which is currently backed by Y Combinator. We're extremely ecstatic to have you with us today, Ansh, and we're hoping to have an amazing
Amazing
conversation
conversation
with
with
you.
you.
Same here, same. I'm super excited about this.
All right, so let's get started. So, Ansh, as we know that all the top tier companies have either deferred or revoked their job offers, and the graduating classes are finding their careers up in the air. So, how do you think that these people should strategize and approach this whole situation? Because obviously, like giving up and just blaming the whole situation completely won't land up anywhere. So, what's your take on that?
I mean, this is a very common topic, and I hear a lot of people feeling very anxious about the fact that, maybe jobs are less, maybe the requirement for people is less. But I think if you are good at what you do, you will always be in demand. So there are two things that I would primarily ask everyone to focus on. First is that completely get rid of this mindset that there are not enough jobs. There is enough of stuff happening, plenty of stuff happening if you actually look around, even during the pandemic. And if you're good at what you do, it could be programming, it could be marketing, it could be talking, it could be anything, even as small as just even social media marketing. So if you're good at what you do and you're willing to pay the price for that, I think you will have a good enough job. But yeah, it only begins with you first understanding that this is possible, because half of the people I know would refuse the fact that this is possible. So just make sure that you have that open mind and you work on yourself and you'll have a job. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, right. So, like, of course, the dynamics have changed, and with everyone's life on hiatus, like presently, there is an elevated stress arising and affecting everyone. So, what do you think should be their stress resilience strategy?
I actually struggle with the same thing. I would be lying if I said that I don't feel stressed, because all of us are at home. It's the same environment, the same things happening again and again. What has helped me throughout this time is to make sure that my awareness is at an updated level. So I regularly talk to people who are in my field. I regularly follow similar people on Instagram, go to YouTube, go to Google, make sure that I'm updated with the proper news, because you can take the right decisions only if you have the correct information. If your information is not updated, if you are not aware of what's actually happening, you wouldn't have the wisdom or the intelligence to take the best decision, because all of us take decisions from what we know. Now, obviously, we can't really know everything that is there to know, but at least spend some time to just understand what your field is doing, what is the correct and the quickest way to generate good enough results. And this is towards the technical side, but in your own personal life, just make sure that your health is at an optimum level. So I have recently started working out. I have recently started to develop a habit of sleeping on time, waking up on time, although it is very difficult to maintain. Like, it's very difficult to have that routine set
Yeah,
up. But if your diet, if your sleep, and if your exercise routine is on point, then at least your mind and body are with you. You can't learn a lot of stuff, you can't pitch yourself, you can't sell yourself, you can't deliver great results unless your mind and body are with you. So make sure that you spend good enough of time, just taking care of yourself and your headspace.
yeah, completely. So, like, considering the fact that our life has become completely virtual since the outbreak of this pandemic, and like remote interviews being a new normal. So, how big of a challenge do you think it becomes for people not comfortable with the virtual platform and facing cameras and still manage to look engaging and professional? So, I mean, I obviously agree that the impression that one can leave in person on the panel and with with their gestures and body language is indeed better. So, what do you suggest?
I think there are both pros and cons to this approach. And I think there are few things that we cannot control, and this pandemic is one of them. So the correct way to approach this, how can we adapt to what is happening right now? Of course, there are few things that we can change, but there are few things that we need to flow with. So there are some positives to virtual interviews, and there are some negatives as well. So I know that there are a lot of negatives because you can't influence a person, you can't do that body language hacks that you had before. But if we actually think about it, then now everyone is on the same level. Now for a person who is very on point and very good at like eye language and body language and hand gestures, that person does not have a very big edge as compared to you. So I think everyone is on the same level because now it's only about what you can say and what you can deliver. So it is less about the person and more about the value that that person is putting on the table. So I think all of us need to just understand that whatever the situation that we're in, what is the best that we can do? Like even if it's virtual, even if it's not in person, what is the best that we can make out of it? And just focus on, of course, there are a few things that you can do on virtual calls as well. Like there's so much actually. You can share your files instantly, which was not possible earlier. You can have many people from different sources come together on a single call, which was not possible earlier. Then you can have virtual background, so no one would even know where you are. Like the background could be anything and no one would ever know. And eventually you are not scared of a human being sitting in front of you judging you, because if your video is off, if that person's video is off, you can't really see him or her judging you or making some observations, because most people panic when there is a judge sitting in front of them, and that panic is not there anymore. You're talking to a screen.
Right.
So that is a huge blessing.
Yeah, right. So, since like you do a lot of video interactions and interviews, and you have dealt with this bracket, how important is it for one to consider details like positioning the camera and talking on the camera, etc., and still manage to look appealing and be expressive?
I think there are two things to this. First is that you need to have enough financial freedom or financial stability to make sure that you're able to put that impression. But from what I am recognizing and from what I'm noticing, if you deal with people who are insanely focused at work and delivering results, they don't really care about the angle or the lighting or how you look. But if you're able to deliver the exact reason why you're here, if you're able to pull that off, then a lot of people ignore a lot of stuff. You will find a lot of professionals, students, seniors, elders who are rude at a first impression, or they might not be wearing very good clothes, or they might be very awful at their communication skills, but they are highly respectable people in their own world, in their own society, because they can deliver what they are expected to deliver. So if you give them the specific task, they're able to do it properly. But yeah, for all of us students, as soon as you start earning, I would recommend everyone to invest in certain set of clothes, certain maybe even a dietitian, maybe a physician who can guide you on how to eat, how to make sure that your body is fit, how to make sure that you're wearing proper clothes, and spend a lot of time, like genuinely a lot of time, just speaking to other people in all languages. So I wouldn't say that only English is that one specific language that you would need. You need to have a very strong command at, say, Hindi if you're in North, or whatever language that is very popular in your state, because every single language has its own emotional connect with the person that you're talking to. So you have to judge depending on the situation, that what language do I need to say at this specific point of time, how fast do I need to say, what is the tone that is required. It's basically a superpower to just adapt yourself according to the environment, because you can't have one personality work for every single place. Maybe one personality would work in a specific environment, but you need to be very rash in a separate environment, or you need to be very sober in one specific bubble, or you need to be very, very strong in another bubble. So you can't have one personality fit for all. You need to change according to the dynamic.
Yeah, right. So, considering the placement specifically, would you like to draw a contrast between the placement scenes pre and post pandemic, like how it was before and how is it now?
I think the pandemic has taught people the importance of just being alive. That is super important. We used
Right.
to think that we need so much to stay alive, and the reality is that we do not need a lot to stay alive. And what we actually need is inside of us, apart from food and shelter. So I think people will slowly realize that they need very less, and there are pros and cons to this as well, because there are a lot of industries and businesses that were thriving on this materialism that existed pre-COVID. And now that people are understanding that all of this materialism was not actually required, all of these outings and vacations and clothes and gadgets and fancy dinners were actually not required. So now a lot of businesses are panicking because they're like, dude, people are actually realizing the fact that they do not need a lot. So I think people will change, but from what I'm seeing, I think it's all getting back to normal. A lot of people are even forgetting that the virus is there, which is not a very good thing. And even I try to make sure that I take the proper precautions, because everything is so natural that you tend to forget what's happening. Like, we have created our own reality, but the truth is that the reality that's inside my head is not in alignment with the actual reality. So you have to be very careful that even though you are very free and very chilled out, you need to be aware that there is a risk. We are all at risk at some point.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's just recall the whole placement scene in our college. I mean, rushing, here and there informals, and like getting into the calls, showing up for HR interviews, technical rounds, everything, and literally any hour. And like, I mean, indeed, that was hectic. And but like without that hustle and everything, I don't think one's college life is complete. So how was that whole experience for you?
So, I mean, I have a lot to say on this, but the moral of the story would be that people actually criticize even schools as well, that why is it so difficult? Why are we supposed to do so much work? What is this discipline for? And to be honest, from what I am recognizing and understanding, is that all of these things are just shaping our personality. The habit of wearing formals, the habit of coming on time, building your resume, iterating on your resume, preparing for the HR, preparing for all of these things. These skills are not that useful, to be honest. But the process of going through all of these things, the process of waking up on time, building your portfolio, making sure that you look good, having that state of mind, even if your interview is at 3 a.m. in the night, these things shape you as a person. And eventually you will get out of college, eventually you will get a job, eventually you will even leave your job and maybe do your own startup. But these good habits, they stay with you, they stay with you forever in some shape or the other. So if I were a very hardworking student in my school life or in my college life, I don't have any questions to solve anymore. But that same work ethic, that same discipline is still a part of me. You can't take that away from me anymore. So if anyone says, Ki Ansh, there's something that you need to do at 3 a.m., I am up for it, because I've done similar stuff in my college life. So I am not intimidated as compared to my competitors who get tired very easily, or who get lazy, or they're not even interested in what's happening around them. So all of this hustle, it might seem very painful, it might seem very illogical, that what is the need for all of these things. But all of these experiences are slowly shaping you in ways that you can't even imagine. It is actually changing the entire wiring of your subconscious mind.
Yeah, right. So, like we know that you're a UX designer, and so how would you direct and guide people who are looking forward to establishing themselves in this particular bracket? Like, what should be their initial approach, and while considering this option, what should be their mindset?
So I think if you want to explore UX design, and first of all, for every technical person, I would recommend everyone to just spend at least 10, 11 hours just understanding what UX is, because we are being surrounded by many applications and many softwares, and just understanding how a person interacts with that software is a very necessary language. It is how we perceive technology, and it is how we develop certain experiences. So for a person who wants to learn from scratch, I would recommend you to, one, download a software called Figma. It's completely free. Or you can also open Figma on Google Chrome as well. It is a very simple tool, very, very simple tool. To learn that tool, Figma has their own YouTube channel which has 15-20 basic videos. You will just need 2-3 hours to go through them. And once you go through them properly, that skill will stay with you for the rest of your life. Now, building on top of the basics, there are 4 or 5 people that I personally follow. One is my mentor, Saptarshi Prakash, who was my design manager and mentor at Swiggy. He has an amazing YouTube channel. Then there is ABN UX, Abhinav Chikara's YouTube channel. Then there is Whiteboard FM, where they talk to all these leading product designers throughout the world, students and professionals. So you get to know the mindset behind these people. And once you watch all these videos, once you have covered all these YouTube videos, the fourth step would be to make one UI every single day for the next 100 days. It is a very common challenge. Just take one screen, put it on the left side, and imitate that same screen on the right. Don't do stuff from scratch. Don't think much. Just imitate pixel to pixel. What will happen after 100 days is that it'll that copying will allow you to notice small details, and when you notice small details, it becomes a part of your intuition. So after 100 screens, it'll happen naturally. Now when I tell you that you have to make the specific screen, it'll come from your intuition and you will be able to create in a flow state.
All right. Okay, so let's just move on to the most interesting section of this interview, which I am personally very eager to, discuss with you. Is your podcast, Take It Easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so like Anju started your podcast some years back, which has now evolved to two amazing seasons. So, and congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So, where did you get the whole idea from? Like, where did this whole strike your mind? And like, we would love to know the whole story behind it.
I think it just came from my own personal experiences because I belong to a background which was very different from the background that I am right now. I was the first person in my entire family to take science, first person to go to college, first person to use a computer. So for me, it was very intimidating to visit a place where everyone was so ahead of me and everyone knew so much. And it just takes a toll on your mind because you feel that everything is so difficult that it's out of your reach. So during my college life, I just wished that my seniors or my elders or my surroundings would have instructed these things before I entered the arena. And I would have avoided a lot of mistakes if I knew these things. And these weren't technical things, these weren't difficult things. As engineers, we know how to solve difficult questions. It is the simple stuff that we lack, simple foundations that are missing, and they were missing in my childhood. So I felt that let's just record some episodes. I wanted to do a YouTube video sort of a thing, but then YouTube takes a lot of time, and then when you're watching a video, when you're watching a person, you are judging that person's body language, the background, the editing, the camera quality. So there are a lot of judgments involved in that content. But in podcasts, you can only listen to my voice, and that is it. There are no ads. There is no suggested column on the right which will take your eyes away from the video. You can't chat, you can't do anything. And second is that when you're watching a video, you have to stay still. But I know that people are very busy. I know that even I wouldn't spend so much of time listening to a person sitting in front of the computer. So I thought that I want my friends or whoever needs this to listen to all of this stuff while he's on his way to class, or while she's working, or while she's exercising, because it just allows you to listen to a person and do your own work. So yeah, my intention was season 1 was all about internal awareness, internal success, because I think a lot of people are talking about external success. No one really needs gyan on how to make money or how to be a good designer. There's plenty of stuff, but I couldn't find enough stuff on internal success specifically that would cater my age group and my thoughts and my situations. So season 1 was on that. Season 2 is more material driven because I felt that once you have figured out your internal stuff and your internal thoughts, it is very important to generate enough capital, because if you are not in isolation, if you're in a family, if you have responsibilities, then you have to generate enough capital. Otherwise, the society will not let you sit peacefully. no matter how peaceful you are on the inside, there will be people who will constantly come and disturb that inner peace because you're not generating enough capital. But when you have enough capital in your hands, a lot of people are scared to touch you, a lot of people are scared to insult you, and you just have enough power. So I thought that let's cover that aspect. It's not like I am a millionaire, it's not like I'm some sort of a business tycoon, but whatever I know right now has genuinely helped me a lot. Like, it has cleared so many things. I just wanted to share all of that in season 2.
All right. So my question was basically who motivated you, but like you answered already that it just came out of self motivation. All right.
Yeah, I mean, because there's
So
so much of unawareness, right? Because a lot of people are just unaware. It's unbelievable. We as a generation know so much about computers, applications, the weather, the infrastructure, but we don't know about ourselves. So it is very sad to see that we are spending time understanding how a machine works, but we don't understand how we work. So it's
I mean, that self exploration is very important,
very
right?
important. It is the most important exploration. So before you
Yeah,
travel outside your house, travel inside and check what's happening inside of you.
exactly. So, like in your podcast, you talk a lot about scoring in exams and internships, placements, anxiety, and all these issues with friends and friends' popularity, fame, and all of that. So, which definitely is like a great mix of everything and the whole journey. So, what do you expect your listeners to gain from this? And like, is it like a self help or just like a reality check?
To be honest, I know for a fact that most of the stuff that I talk about on the show will not be 100% compatible with all listeners, because all listeners come from their own special backgrounds, they have their own baggages, their own responsibilities. The point is to just open minds, to just have a conversation. And if I am talking about something that you're completely unaware of, at least now that you have listened to it, you will think about it for once. You might not learn anything from it, you might not even pick it, you might even disagree with it. But just conversing on these topics is very important, because a lot of people thought that anxiety is not a real thing. A lot of people feel insecure, but they're not very open about it. A lot of people want to earn money, they want to understand money, but they're very shy to do it. So on the forefront, they will say stuff like money doesn't matter. I don't want too much of money. I want to build my passions. But when you check their behavior or when you listen to their conversations, you realize that these are the same people who value money more than anything else. So there is some sort of disconnect, right? Either you are afraid to admit that you need money, or you're just afraid to check and learn and work on what you want to do. So I just felt that even if they don't learn something from it, it is very important to talk about these things openly and without any filter, and just be on the point. Because I see a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people just adding unnecessary stuff into their gyan. It is not required, because even they want to look very poised and very sophisticated, which is not needed.
That's amazing. And so, what would be your best advice on getting ahead with issues like, issues that life throws at you? I mean, issues like self confidence, bad grades, losing confidence, self esteem, and all of that.
I mean, this is a very long answer, but I would try to touch on like two, 3 points that I feel are supremely important. First is, take utmost care of your diet. What you put inside your body will influence your body, and once your body is influenced, that influence would eventually reach to your mind. So you have to make sure that you eat properly. And people say that this junk food and this burger and all, it won't affect me, all this sugar will not affect me, but it does. It does. I have seen the change. And don't make it into a strict diet, but at least have healthy food. I understand that we're all young and it's okay to have junk food, but introduce good stuff in your diet as well. So you could start eating flax seeds, chia seeds, maybe a smoothie, some sort of dry fruit, maybe almonds. Have roasted almonds if you think that normal almonds are very difficult to eat. Then even almonds, try soaked almonds so that you can remove their skin, because once you remove the skin, the absorption of the nutrients becomes very easy. As soon as you wake up, try acupuncture. There's this acupuncture mat that comes to put beneath your feet so it gets your blood flowing. Try skipping. I do a lot of skipping as soon as I wake up without doing anything else, the first thing that I do is I would skip. As soon as I wake up, I drink a big glass of water because you have to keep your body hydrated. So it's just like charging your laptop. Like you can't expect your laptop to run unless it's fully charged. So you have to make sure that you are drinking your water properly. You have a set routine. Uh, Personally, I completely avoid artificial juices. I don't drink soda. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. But that is a personal preference. I don't think that would affect the health. I'm not completely sure of this. But even in juices, I prefer raw juices because they're all natural. So tiny, tiny things, just making sure that what you put inside your body is good enough. Then second is exercising. Spend just half an hour, maybe not even half an hour, 15 minutes just skipping. If you can't exercise, just skip. Put your favorite music on, skip. Otherwise, do a plank. Otherwise, just do push ups or do mountain climbers because these things they don't require any equipment. So you can do crunches. Or you can do like burpees. So without any equipment, you can work out wherever you are. And if you feel that you're feeling very lazy, what I do is do one step. So for example, I wear gloves whenever I need to work out. So if you're not able to get that motivation to work out, just wear your gloves. Take the slightest of step towards it. If you are not able to write something, just open your notebook. Just take that one single step, the easiest step. If you are trying to go to the gym, just enter the car and drive till you reach the gym. If you don't feel like doing it, come back from the gym, but do that one single step. But spend half an hour working on your body. Third is read good books because if you are surrounded in an environment which is by nature very temperamental or dynamic to change or not suitable for your growth, if you spend too much time in that bubble, it will soon limit your thinking. But if you are reading good books, if you're reading good autobiographies, or if you're watching good videos, or if you're talking to good people as well, it just gives you a change from that monotony. If you spend too much time in your own environment, and I don't know, it's all very dynamic. You could have like a very toxic environment or you could have like an amazing environment. But make sure that whatever that you're thinking, listening, watching, consuming or saying, it is in alignment with your goals. Like make everything about your goals, and it will sound very selfish, but everything that you do, everything has to be in alignment. Not necessarily right now. It's not like, no, I will not go outside my house because I have this presentation to finish. Going outside is also productive because if you don't meet friends, if you don't socialize, you will not feel relaxed. If you don't feel relaxed, you'll eventually burn out. So having fun, going out, spending the money that you earn, it is as important as working or hustling. It is a part of your productivity. So make sure that you're reading properly, eating good food, and exercising properly, and it'll make a huge change.
Definitely. I'm sure podcast is doing amazing and I hope it reaches great heights of success.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And it was amazing talking to you.
Thank you
Have a
so
good
much.
day.
Thank you so much, Pragya.